All right, man. So I know that you've been on the show of Chorizo Bros, and we love having you, but haven't seen you as active as I think you should be. You know, are you subscribed?
Maybe. I think so.
You gotta like it, man. You gotta watch it. You gotta see how we talk. You know how Art talks, and we kind of banter off one another. You gotta watch it so you can kind of get a feel for us.
Yeah. Do you have anything to drink?
You know what? I have just the thing. Here you go, buddy. You enjoy that. Nice. Now we can say that you have watched every single Chorizo Bros episode. Every single one. Oh, God, please, no!
Because I think it's kind of a love letter to chasing your dreams and
Stop,
heart and all that
no
stuff.
more.
So that's where I stand.
Oh God, please, no more! No, stop!
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
No more! For the love of God, no more! Please! No more! Please stop! Yo!
Hey everybody!
What's up?
Welcome back to the Chorizo Bros. Back at it again, as we promised, with another book and movie discussion. Tonight we're going to be talking about A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, or Burgess, I've heard it actually both ways.
Yeah, it don't matter.
And then the Kubrick adaptation of the movie. So this is going to be a really fun conversation, you guys. We've been promising this one for a long time. I think what we're going to do is start off with what we normally do, is a little review on kind of both, and then we'll finish it off with a spoiler discussion. We're going to talk about the book, the movie, all the way as though you've read and or seen it all the way through. So I think I should probably start off with this one because I have a confession to make. I DNF'd this book. For those of you that are outside of the book reading community, DNFing is when you did not finish something. People DNF series, people DNF books. This is one of the ones that I could not get all the way through. You can see my bookmark on here. I did get about halfway through. It was a pretty solid attempt, but I couldn't get all the way through. And that big thing for me, it wasn't the violence, it wasn't the sexual assaults, it wasn't the suicide attempt. It was the language. Not cussing, but the whole book is written through the unusual language that they use. Because one of the characters is in the street gang, and they have slang, and the entire book is this other language called Nadsat.
It's called
Nadsat. The language is called Nadsat.
Okay. And it's created by him?
Yeah. Well, it's a mixture of like Russian slang, Cockney, like British slang.
Okay.
There's some American slang in there too.
Okay.
But it makes it a very tough read for me because I need a little bit of structure. I can deal with like stories being a little bit convoluted and a little bit hard to like figure out. I like that a little bit sometimes. Yeah. But when I can't understand what's happening at all, I'm like, why the hell am I even doing this? So that's where I landed on here. He went through the whole thing. And the movie is not one of my favorites of Kubrick, but it is not bad. I don't know what number I would give it. I would probably give it like a 3 out of 5. Okay. So a little bit over average. I have some mighty criticisms for it, but overall I think this is again one of those movies that film history wise everybody should see.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't surprise me based on what I know of you, and also going through the book and watching the movie. It doesn't surprise me of your ratings. Okay. As far as me and how I enjoyed the book, I didn't read it. I did the audiobook. And I think from a entertainment perspective and enjoyment of the story, that was huge, because I just tried reading it right now and I couldn't do it. Because it's reading on a page is one thing, but when you have somebody who's already done the homework for you and uses the inflection and uses the language the way it's supposed to, it's easier to understand. It's still hard, but the actor who did the audiobook,
The narrator. Yeah.
He did really, really well. So
I would imagine. I think you played a clip to show Art like what it sounded like a little bit,
Right.
and I was like, okay, yeah, it is weird because you do have to figure out what the inflection is.
yeah, and it's hard to do it if you're reading it.
Yeah, and if somebody's it's funny. Not to get too sidetracked on this one.
No, go for it.
On Lonesome Dove, reading it, some of the sarcasm that Gus has, you don't catch it as easily. But then
Yes.
in the miniseries, you can actually see, oh, he's fucking with him, and like
Right.
he's not just saying this thing; he's like saying it as a joke, and he doesn't explain. Oh, with sarcasm, he said this. It's just the dialogue.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what that reminds me of, is like someone kind of taking the guesswork out of something.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that was what leads me to think that this is a really solid book. If you can get past it, it's actually a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but I don't condone you for not finishing it, because I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have started reading it and then been like, dude, fuck this. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook. But after having listened to the audiobook, I could probably read this maybe 10 years from now and still get the same enjoyment as if I did do the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the movie goes, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
I would
actually not
maybe-
surprised at your rating on this.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah. I'm kind of like almost like at
almost a negative.
almost a 2, almost. Believe it
Okay.
or not. Like I saw it like the first time and I was like, oh, this is such a great movie. And after I
Yeah.
kept rewatching it, I'm like, there are some things about the movie that just kind of bug me. And I
Okay.
can't get over.
Okay.
It's not a perfect movie by any means.
What I think we should do maybe is talk about negatives first.
Yeah.
And let's just shit on it first, and then and then talk about some of the like cooler things about it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really like about movies is it takes its time, and I like it when filmmakers do that. However, in this one,
Oh, this is controversial because you're always the one that's like, I like movies when they slow down.
dude, yes. But I like it when it's done so for the actor's performance.
Mm-hmm.
So in this movie, the actors in this movie were they did a great job, but I don't think that their performances were like the main focal point of this film. Because a lot of the actors are kind of like cartoony,
Yeah.
and a little
Yeah.
kind of
It's
just
too
dorky.
campy. Campy is like how I would
don't
describe
really-
it. Campy?
I don't really know that term, but
What you're saying? It's like
Okay.
exaggerated for no reason, kind of.
yeah. So
Like
For
the
me-
the actor, whenever he finds out that Alex is going, like we're in the spoiler area. When Alex goes to him the second time, the writer that he beat up and his wife, when he starts singing in the rain, and then he's like, oh, and you're like, "Fuck, are you doing that?" And they really like zoom in on his face, and it's very campy. It's very
Yes.
campy. Yeah.
like that's a good example. And like the I don't even know the character's name, but I know how he talks. Like, oh yes, Deltoid, yeah, that guy. You know, it's just,
got into a bit of nastiness last night. Yes.
dude. And I'm like,
oh, you want to hit him?
yes. And
Yeah.
then he like grabs his junk. It's just like weird.
Well, okay, that's gonna be something that is in the positive for me later. Not the way he is necessarily acting, but because that's trying to say something. Go on.
Okay. I mean, I didn't see it as that, but that just was so strange to me that it just took away from the overall enjoyment of the film. I was like, why did they do that, or why did they make that decision? It wasn't clear to me, and you'll bring it up to me later. So that was something that really bugged me, because overall the story is really, really good. You know, they bring up some really cool, philosophical aspects that I think should be brought to life.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it in a really interesting, creative way. The book, I want to get to a little bit later and kind of how it's different, but I'm kind of curious to hear some of the things that you didn't really like about it.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you hit it straight on the head.
Pretty much.
For me, it was just some of the like just elongated shots of just nothing happening. A lot of signing of documents and like these certain scenes where it's like you said, it's not really adding anything to the character development or showcasing a performance. like, why did we need to watch him take everything out of his pocket? Like, and it took forever. That scene took a long time, and I remember sitting there being like, all right, what else does he have? What else does he have? What else does he have? God, get it over. Randy, okay, he's got an imitation leather wallet. I'm like, shut the fuck up and get to the part where he's in the prison already.
Yeah, it could definitely be condensed big time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, but a part of me is also like, yeah, hell yeah, the director wanted that. Mm-hmm. Fuck it, like that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of cool that he was like, I don't give a shit. I want my audience to see this. And gives the actors an opportunity to do it in a kind of creative way. It's not that exciting, you know? Like, even the little nuances of him putting it on the table when he kind of does a little thing like that. It's, from, like, me having an actor's background, that's cool that the director was like, look, I want this to be really, it's a boring thing, but I want you as the actor to kind of have a blank canvas, and how can you make it interesting?
Well, I think that you could argue that that Kubrick thought there was a point to it, felt like there was a point to it, like, because I think if I'm trying to just justify that scene being in the movie, if I were like to take the other side and be like if you were why is it in there? I would say that it's probably to really to make you go, all right, Alex is used to being the big dick swinging in these confrontations that he has. When he's fighting with his buddies in the gang, when he's beating people up or stealing from them, that old man or whatever. This is the other side of that, where we're seeing him at the bottom. We're seeing the institution, like, you can't even lean against the desk unless we tell you to. Stand behind the line because we said so. You know, so that's kind of like we're supposed to... I'm Kubrick now. Like, I think he's trying to make us see, like, I get like what he's doing. I'm just saying I didn't care for it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, because I feel like that's what it is.
Like, that's a cool thought, right? Like, to kind of have that, but maybe do it, but in a quicker fucking way. Mm-hmm. You know, like there's definitely creative outlets that you can do to kind of institute that idea without needing it to drag on.
How different do you feel like this is in terms of, like, okay, so it's a little bit slow and it's a little bit droning and whatever. You and I just did Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, we did.
And that was there was a prison story there, and there's a prison story in this. And what did you find to be the differences in terms of, like, okay, that can be a really great movie and it can be slow and it can be, you know, drawn out, and then the scenes in here, because I'm agreeing with you, I felt them to be a little bit whatever. Right. Like, what do you think made it work for you in Shawshank but not work for you in this?
Well, I think it just goes back to the actors' performances, because a lot of the scenes, there was interesting beats, is what we call them. You know, these different changes in emotions, and so you kind of need a little bit of extra time to allow these different beats to kind of flow, right? But in Clockwork Orange, there wasn't like emotional beats really. Like, there were times when he's going through turmoil, but the stuff that dragged on to me weren't big fluctuations of emotional turmoil. It was just, like you said, just doing something simple, signing the documents. There's no emotional response that I got from that. So that's why this movie just felt like it dragged on big time. Whereas Shawshank was like, cool, there's these characters. I want to see this scene here. Yeah, maybe this didn't need to be included, but at least that one scene with that, you know.
There is an emotional beat when he, like in Shawshank, the Dufresne plays the music. Even though I criticize that scene for being in the movie, right. I can understand, like, okay, I get, like, he's trying to make them all feel like there's some hope left. You know, there's something beautiful still that I can experience.
It still adds to it. It's not like
Alex in Clockwork Orange doesn't have. You don't see him forming relationships with the other prisoners. He doesn't have friends in there.
Right.
He's not like everybody. He seems to be like kind of nice to. You feel like he's manipulating them because he is. With the chaplain, with the priest, or I don't know what they're called in the C of E.
Right.
He. You know, I haven't committed any crimes in here. I haven't been acting bad or anything. Yeah, you've done a really good job. So you can almost tell it's even that, even though it's friendly, it's manipulative. He doesn't care. You know, that's part of his character, and that's part of, like, what makes this story interesting. But
yeah,
Yeah.
And like the whole that one inmate who's like kind of kissing at him while he's doing the
the bull dyke, the English bull dyke. He's like blowing like 20 kisses at him.
Yeah. So like that, when I first watched the film, I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's gonna be some kind of
Confrontation.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was it.
And
so you're
nothing.
telling me you spent 5 minutes him getting into the prison, but you couldn't spend 5 minutes creating some kind of relationship between this? That would have been an interesting story.
Yeah, a
I would much
confrontation
rather
or,
see
like-
something like that.
Yeah, you know what I really would have wanted to see is a prison gang.
Yeah.
What if we saw like a reflection of the street gang in prison, and it's a different version? That would have been, I think, kind of a cool thing, but also like, For
Right.
the story doesn't need it, but I mean, if you're gonna spend so much time in there, like, maybe you should show something.
Yeah.
The scenes, all this comes down to is just how long some of this takes. That's really it, because everything about the blocking, the like positions of the actors, it all kind of tells a story. Also, that stuff is really, if you really pay attention to it, like, it's really good.
Oh yeah, it's
Like
it's
that-
like a painting.
It
Watching
really
it's
is.
really
Yeah.
artistic. The colors.
Yes,
And I love that about
the set,
Kubrick.
everything.
The shots that they're doing. One of my favorite shots is
music.
when they're like, oh, the music, man. But like when they're walking to that drunkard guy and seeing like the four of their
The
shadows.
light in the back,
Oh man, that's
and you
just,
see him just like in the corner, and he's singing. He's got a couple of half-empty bottles of scotch or whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Art, but that dude reminds me.
I've seen him drunk like that singing.
Yes, dude. Like, oh man.
There's no Law and Order anymore. I'm like, Art, is that you?
Yeah, dude. Like, I was just sorry, bro. That's totally.
He's not gonna watch this.
Nah, he won't.
He'll listen to it on audio.
Fucking
Yeah, the we can start talking about some of the shit we liked, because overall, I mean, I gave it a 3 out of 5. That's like still positive.
Oh yeah. For sure.
So I mean, just the beginning, man. Just the beginning of this movie, the milk bar with the mannequin ladies, and the when he goes to buy the album, and there's just the colorful, like, just everything looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the way the like city looks run down, like, it's not, you know, colorful, beautiful, but like the way it looks, you go, oh wow, that's really interesting. They did that. The house that Alex lives in, yeah, even inside it looks kind of interesting. Like, his room really looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But then outside of that, when his droogs are outside of his house, and there's like they're all drawn on, and like there's plants knocked over, and you can't. The elevator door is dingy and fucked up, and like, just everything in here looks incredible. Like the scenes with the doctors, the scenes in the prison even look cool. Like having them walk in that circle, like the way it's all just shot, it's really interesting to look at.
Yeah, it's every frame almost is like its own little museum. Like it's you know, it's like a museum, and you're just seeing all these different shots and paintings, and yeah, that's one of the big things that I think. If it didn't have that, it'd probably be worse on my rating.
Oh, definitely. This movie would almost be not worth watching if it didn't have the imagery. If you didn't have the just the way it looks, it wouldn't even be worth watching, honestly.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I do appreciate the fact that they did take a lot of the same ideas from the book. Of course, they went and did a lot of different things. But I think that as far as like the dialogue goes, that's cool that they stuck to that, because they could have easily been like,
yes,
you know what? Oh, I don't know what this language is. The audience is not going to know what this language is. Let's just make it English, you know, with some Cockney accents. Like, but they actually stuck with it, and it still works. You know, like when you're reading it, it's hard, and you kind of have to pick it up along the way. But when you watch it initially, it's not that much of a problem.
Do you know why it's in that language?
I think I do. So, from my understanding, Anthony Burgess wanted the language to be like violent. So, some of the words and stuff, like I think the word "good" is
ultraviolent.
ultra-violent or horror show or something.
Oh yeah.
So
even the good words are like
is something awful.
something bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So from my understanding, that's why it was designed that way.
Yeah, I actually heard something of the opposite, where the language was chosen because of how awful the actions are in the book. So using this language that's just a little bit off of English softens the blow a little bit. So when you say, we had a bit of the old ultraviolence and all of the Malchiks had the in-out, it's like they beat the shit out of her and they gang raped her. That's what it's saying.
Yeah, that's
But when
true.
you use that language, it like doesn't sound as awful, or they can really, a bit of the old, what do they call it? He calls it the vino, like wine.
Oh,
Our lovely friend, the vino, started to flow, He uses, and it is cool. Reading it was tough, but it is cool.
Maybe I think what I read was basically that, but I just interpreted it differently. I don't know. But...
Well, or maybe I heard someone else's interpretation of it.
But that makes more sense because there's really awful things. And believe it or not, in the book, it's even more awful than what's shown. And in the movie, there's some awful things in there.
No, I remember the big thing is the 2 girls he picks up.
Yeah,
That's like way worse. Trigger warning here.
yeah. Go ahead. I don't even want to say it.
So in the movie, he picks up these 2 girls eating a popsicle at the album store, and he takes them to his apartment. And there's this like really, it's almost like funny, like how it's edited, how they're like spinning around, and he takes the one girl's clothes off, and they have this like weird threesome, and it's shot really like funny to music. But in the book, it's horrible. The girls are like 10 and 11.
Yeah.
They're not, and he's like 15.
Yeah.
So they make him. He's older in the movie, but like in the book, he's like 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not really consensual. You're kind of. I think he like gives them that milk stuff. Did I read it wrong?
No,
he gives them the milk stuff, and then
he puts something in there,
and then they, and it's like a horrible experience. They're not having a good time at all.
No. He's.
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest one that I remember. I stopped halfway through, so he where I stopped is right like after he got to the prison.
Okay.
Because that is in the movie. That's like about halfway through the movie too.
Yeah, that's about.
So what? Yeah, what other differences were there? Because that one I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, well, in the book, there's like Georgie. I think you probably got there. Georgie dies. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew. I don't know if you got there. But
I remember it happens. I don't remember reading it, but I remember that happens.
So one big difference is the ending of the book, and I'm sure you remember from when you first wrote it or first read it, is that
he runs into one of the gang members.
He definitely does
like,
run
I
into
want to start a family.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yeah, he runs into him, and he's like kind of turned a new leaf, and then Alex starts to want that as well. So I was curious what your thoughts were on if you think the movie's ending is much more as opposed to how it normally is.
I think it should end. I think it should end with him having free will again, and still like the tragedy is he sees it as a triumph, but the tragedy is that he's still evil. I like that better. Not because I want him to have a good time, but
just because, like, from a story
standpoint, I think it makes more sense that okay, so then the quest or the point is them getting rid of the Ludovico technique, mm-hmm. the conditioning, which is we got to talk about that because that's a crazy scene too.
Yeah,
getting rid of it and then him deciding on his own to like be good again is kind of cool, but like. Him being like, oh god, I can just be a piece of shit again, is I think a little bit more. I don't know.
I was just thinking about it right now, and how interesting would it be if, let's say, he gets rid of the Ludovico treatment, right? Mm-hmm. He decides that he wants to have what that his buddy has. Mm-hmm. He gets it, right, and. You have this idea like, oh wow, changes, like maybe his dialogue changes. He's not this
Oh, he stops using
bonkers,
the stupid yard blockos.
Right.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's like a couple chapters where he's living this really idealistic life.
And
he's
somebody breaks
changing
in?
the leaf. Well, I was thinking that it's all just a facade. And he's truly, and at the very end of the book, he's like, he maybe reverts back, and there's like a internal monologue that comes out that's like, I never changed. I'm still that same evil person.
Or maybe
Yeah.
he like sees, you know, he like walks by an alley with his wife and he tells her go, and he watches somebody beat the crap out of a bum or something. He's like,
yeah, and he doesn't help, and he just like,
and then he
And I
goes
just
home, and then he
imagine,
goes
like-
home and rails the shit out of his wife because it turned him on. You
Yeah.
know, like that would be like, oh, that's
Yeah.
fucking wild.
and I'm just imagining like if you shot it right. So in the beginning of the film, you see him with his, you know, bull cap, and you barely see his eyes, those little eyelashes.
Yeah.
and he looks fucking evil.
Oh yeah.
And so then, imagine him going through all that, and the last shot is him older, and he has that same maniacal look.
Yeah, they did. This is a common thing with Kubrick, is he'll have the character like stare a little past the camera, and like, and you know, because he does long shots, like they did in The Shining with Jack Nicholson. There's a part where he's just kind of staring.
Yeah.
And then they did it with one of the characters in Full Metal Jacket, like right before he goes on a rampage. It's the one Gomer.
Oh yeah,
you know,
bigger guy,
the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does that.
Mhm.
So that thing of like having the character go through a change, and then he's like got the 1,000-yard stare. What is it called? 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't mind that type of shot taking a long time.
Right, but the reason I brought that up is because Alex starts off looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beginning. Our introduction to anything in the movie is his face, and it's doing that stare.
Yeah.
So you're like, this guy's already off the rails.
Yeah.
There's no growth there.
Mm-hmm.
The growth that we do get in the story is an artificial one. He's unrepentant. He reads the Bible, and he fantasizes about being like the guy whipping Jesus. He fantasizes about being a Roman soldier, cutting a guy's throat, you know, or being hedonistic with the slaves, and he's having them feed him grapes.
Yeah.
So he's completely unrepentant. He's in there and he's behaving a certain way, but like
It's all a facade.
the thing that does happen is they brute force control. And that's the point of the movie is like, the question is what the priest brings up, where he's like, that's not choice. The most important thing for a human being is to have free will, and when you take it away, that's not that's the human soul has nothing to do with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there, you could philosophically be like, yeah, that's right or that's wrong, whatever. But that's the question is, you know, even though it was brought through, you know, yeah, he's not a danger to anybody anymore, and that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But is it good that he didn't choose that? Is it good that it was forced on him?
So let's answer the question, I guess, right? Like, do we think that if that were a real thing, should we do it or not? And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little torn. I'm kind of like, yeah, we should definitely not do that. But there's some pretty ugly people out there that I'm like, man, dude, with some of the stuff that you pull, there's some people out there I think that deserve that.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty common like thought. I think every person I think we talk to would have a similar, where they'd be like, oh man, I don't know, because I'm kind of with you on it. Where my instinct is to be like, no man, free will's too important. I'm very much a like think for yourself kind of person. So like, even though people are gonna do fucking bad shit, like that's the price of living in society that has freedom in it.
Yeah, and I think human beings were, the way I see it, and this is maybe controversial, but I think that our base makeup is we're just animals. That's kind of how I see it.
I don't think that's controversial.
Okay. So,
Maybe for some of y'all.
So I think that the overall nature because like if you look at the animal kingdom, there's rape, death, murder. That stuff is
Taking advantage, power.
It's a survival of the fittest. That thing, that is a thing, and it's not policed by anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So luckily we live in a world where most of that is not, most people aren't like that, but I can't help but think that because we're animals, that is our true makeup, and we as a society have just been institutionalized in school, with government, with all this type of thing, to where that is not okay. Dang, you had to whip out the whiskey.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
Coming from me, right?
Because I think I agree with you, and that is. I don't hear you talk like that normally.
Yeah, and I mean, it's taken me a while to kind of like see it, right? Like, of course, I'm not condoning. I'm not saying that any actions that a person takes.
I don't think anybody would take what you said as
right.
any form of like, oh, he supports that.
No, definitely not.
You're more so saying that like that part of our being hasn't washed out yet.
No,
it's in there.
Yeah, and I think that's why people do crazy stuff. It of course it's crazy because we have this role that we need to fill, but when you strip all those roles away, is it all that crazy?
Yeah.
So the way that Alex is behaving is like true raw animalistic like characteristics.
Take what you want.
Yeah. And so it's like putting a rabid dog in a cage and letting him sit there.
Well, and had he not misstepped, where he fucked up was fucking with his boys.
Yeah.
Fucking with his bros.
Yeah.
Because they saw him as, he was kind of their de facto leader, but the second they were feeling like they weren't, they sold him out.
Mm-hmm. Easy. They were like,
because he was like, well, I'm gonna reassert myself as the top, like the alpha lion fights the males to like reassert themselves as the leader.
Right.
Someone starts nipping at you, you nip back harder, and you let them remember. Mm-hmm. So he was like instinctively doing that, but he didn't have like the social conscious like concept of like, if I push my buddies too far, they're gonna not be my buddies anymore.
Right.
And there's more of them. And they might do some shit I don't see coming. And that's what happened.
Damn.
And
it all stems from music.
And had it not been, go on. Let's talk more about that.
Yeah. It's crazy how music is such a big impact, not just with like the soundtrack, but just like going off of what you were saying. Mm-hmm. What sparked him to be mean to his buddies? That lady was singing in the bar, and then he was just enthralled by that, and he's like immediately, and that just sparked this whole downfall with him. Yeah,
because it's dim, right? He goes,
yes.
He like does something disrespectful to the lady, and he's like, don't fucking do that.
Yeah,
and it's weird that it's the music that like, that's like the big thing in the movie too, is because what is freer than listening to music? What represents freedom the most? Like in visual media or like movies, like that kind of thing. It's like when the music comes on.
Right.
That's like one of the big emotional driving forces about how you're supposed to feel when something happens.
It's crazy how music can do that.
Did you hear about how, not to go too far off, but there was a very beginning of making Star Wars. They showed, George Lucas showed some of his like people from film school or whatever, the movie, and it didn't have the music on it yet. And they thought it was weird, and they were like, what the fuck is this? And then he got the brilliant idea, or the studio did, or whoever it was, had John Williams make the score for the movie. Geez. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, because then it's bombastic and it's majestic and it's all these things, and it's all through something that you can't, it's like Animal. It's like that thing in you, because you can't help getting a little hyped whenever you hear the Rocky theme song, or do you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things, there are certain musics that can make you feel a type of way, and like I think that's the point of Beethoven in the movie, is that was Alex's pure bliss, was when he was listening to music.
Yeah, and
everything came back to that. In the book, he attacks the lady with it's a Beethoven bust. He doesn't kill her with he doesn't kill her with a big dick. That's obviously symbolic, but in the book it's a bust of Beethoven.
Right.
That's obviously symbolic for something else, but yeah.
Right. What were you saying earlier? You said that there was a meaning behind. I can't remember what it was. What were we talking about? It was.
Oh, Deltoid grabbing him?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of... Because that's how Kubrick does a lot of his storytelling. Remember we talked about what was going on with like the Indians in The Shining? Like it's there, but it's kind of hidden.
Right.
There is a concept that part of the reason why Alex behaves the way he does is because it's possible that he was getting abused also. And now that he's old enough to fight back and do something about it, his parents let him do whatever he wants because there's some guilt there. And you go, okay, well, why? Well, if you look at that scene again, that scene's in his parents' bedroom. Why would Deltoid be in his parents' bedroom?
Oh, yeah. Dang. So
on
Deltoid
the bed.
Yeah. And he invites him over, and he's...
And then if you look in the back, you see those heads with the weird wigs that his mom wears.
Right.
Colorful wigs. Blue, purple, yellow, whatever color they are, orange, whatever color they are. So you see those little mannequin heads in the back, and they have that weird colored hair. And what are they doing in the bed? They're leaning back like that. Their knees are up. They're next to each other, just like the fucking mannequins at the bar. So there's like a physical, like, look.
Do you think that's
it's Kubrick?
Or...
No, that's Kubrick, dude.
Wow.
That's for sure. I'm not saying he did anything, but there is like a there because why did he grab him then? And then when he spits on him, there is almost like that a weird like I'm gonna have to bleep this. Like, there's a weird like
yeah.
The way the spit hits his face. It's almost pornographic.
Yeah.
You know, if we're just being we're going there, and
Right.
It's Deltoid that does that.
Jeez, I can
How
totally see
how
that.
long do you think he's been? And remember, he's younger in the book too.
Mm-hmm.
How long has he been? How long has he been grabbing him? He's in, and they make a point. Kubrick makes a point to make them strip down. Alex is constantly getting stripped down in this movie.
Yeah, it's a really
They're making
sexual...
Yeah, and well, it's never played for it, but it's there. Like when the prison guard, like, all right, did they really need to show him with the flashlight in his mouth and he's like spreading his that? Did they need to show that?
Yeah, that was much.
Well, it's because it's supposed to remind you that there's something about how someone's treating his body. He treats other people like they're not people. Mm-hmm. They're just the girls. They're just bodies.
Right.
And so it gets done to him too. You see all the poses and they go to the lady he ends up killing with all the cats. Do you see all the artwork in there?
The women with their
Yeah, that's a common theme of having them. The one guy in the bar goes and gets milk out her tit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and then there's a lot of just nudity. It's crazy because
like this movie's really like has a lot of sexual stuff in it, but that's not like the main driving force of the story. At least to me, like to me, it's like we were talking about how it's this like choice and government and policy. I saw a lot of that. That to me is like
the government stuff is a big part of this.
Yeah, in the book it's pretty, I think, a little bit more predominant. But yeah, that's really interesting.
I was like, if Art talks about this, he's gonna go off on that shit.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it's very anti-government. It's very. I don't know if it's anti left or right or whatever. I think it's just anti-power in general.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's he's not really saying like, oh, this current administration or whatever was going on at the time. I don't think he's doing that. I think it's more so the criticism of power, and I think the guy goes, yeah, well, of course we got to use this technique and try to get people out of here.
Right.
Like we need room for political prisoners. That's a specific line.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they're like going like, oh, they're willing to let murderers out to keep people that oppose the politicals in
its own prison. Jeez. Fucking hell, man.
That's crazy, right? Yeah. So there's
and I like how they even shot certain scenes because it almost seemed like when they're walking right by the river, and then also the actual facility where he's getting the treatment, it's like all concrete. It almost looked like is it North Korea? That's the So it almost looked like North Korea type,
Yeah.
like infrastructure, and I couldn't help but think that was my choice because of like this anti-government, anti-power.
Oh yeah.
And so, God,
because some of the things that we talked about on our Shining one were like the weird, like the numbers and the letters on the boxes and stuff. Some of that stuff to me, I was very adamant that was just coincidence. You know, Art felt a different way, or he was like defending the concept that, well, you don't know if Kubrick did that on purpose or not. Fine. But I think it's because you can point to several things about this. There's specific lines. You can point to a lot of stuff to go, yeah, he's definitely there's a commentary on anti-government control. For sure.
Big time.
So you can't argue it. It's definitely in there.
I wonder what Anthony's take is on all that, because I'm almost curious. And
we would have to look at where he was. This came out in what, 1961, 62?
Yeah, something like that. Do you think this movie would ever be redone?
No.
Yeah,
if they did it, they would have to tone it down a lot, and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I could see somebody doing like an anime of it, like the animation being really violent and stuff. The Japanese aren't afraid to get wild with their animation. That'd be kind of cool to see, honestly.
Yeah, I think
how they would like redraw how the guys are dressed, because in they're dressed very different in the book too.
It was hard. I couldn't quite understand the way that they were dressed.
Yeah, it was like cod pieces with the different. One's a spider, one's a whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, like in the movie, they had like eyeballs and blood kind of randomly. I would try to think of like what was Kubrick trying to say with that. I couldn't really come up with anything. I don't know if you thought of.
Not really. There did seem to be a lot of because the stuff that I did see, it was like eyeballs and like it looked like stuff you get like at a Halloween store. Yeah, like you would paste it on your neck to look like you had got cut here.
Right.
It was like stuff like that, and I was like, they just thought it was cool, like punky, you know, shit like that.
Yeah. Like the big cup kind of thing that they were wearing was kind of strange.
Yeah, the cod piece was weird.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. You're supposed to be like, oh, these guys look like weirdos.
Yeah, that's true. And it's almost like this futuristic type, you know.
Yeah, it's funny to see how like wrong old movies get it, where they're like, oh, this is like in the dystopian future, and you look at it, you're like, oh, it just looks so fucking.
I don't know, man. With like the people with the colored hair and stuff like that, I feel like that's a thing. Like people are.
Well, it'll be a thing when we see old ladies do it.
We're getting close, man.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think one of the doctors even had like kind of weird hair, right? Her hair was like blue. Or something.
Toward the end, the psychiatrist.
Yeah, there's got to be something to that. There's got to be something to like the choice to make
I
that
thought
a
in the
fashion
book that
statement.
was
Did they? I mean, you tell me. You're the book guy.
I'm pretty sure in the book that was like the height of fashion. Like for example, the girl singing at the milk bar, she had colored hair, and that was like she was like a premier or like a rich lady or something. So having that colored hair meant like a level of status or something. So I think it would have been a little bit too much had like every woman or every person been colored hair. I'm glad that Kubrick kind of dialed it back, which is kind of.
I don't know. There's a lot of them do. Like I'm pretty sure one of the doctors has the hair. The girl that they put out on stage for him to like do something to, she had colored hair. I'm trying. There's like more. The mannequins, course, the mom, the mannequin. Well, there's not that many ladies in this either.
Yeah, that's true. The scene where he's like with his eyeballs and stuff. Like,
oh my god, yeah. That is probably the scene that's like, I don't know. I was trying to think of like what's the most iconic scene in here, because we talked about it in the last one. Here's Johnny was like the big thing.
Yeah, well, I guess you could argue the very first scene. That's a pretty iconic, like
the visual
bar. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I think when they're all walking in slow motion, and the Beethoven's playing behind them, that's like people like rip that off a lot.
Like by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like right before he starts beating him up.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure the Simpsons did it. Like, I mean, Simpsons riffs on everything. Yeah. But it's like it's either that or the scene with where they do the eyes, because that's what sticks with me. Anytime I think of this movie, I think of that scene with all the wires and having the clamps that are keeping his eyes open. I'm like, oh, I heard Malcolm McDowell talk about doing that scene, and there's a part where he's like just yelling, and he's like, take it off, and he's like yelling, he was like, I wasn't acting in that point. That wasn't part of the script. He goes, it was really getting to me being like having, because he had the straight jacket on, and then not being able to like, you know, just dripping the shit in his eyes. God. And so when he like does that yell, he was like, they left it in the movie. He goes, that was me really yelling because it sucked. And you can imagine Kubrick made him do it over and over and over.
Oh, I'm sure it took forever because you want to get that right.
That's
such a cool like visual and like for the story, like it's just that's an awesome scene. And that, you know, the technology they had to have his eyelids open like that, it just was just crazy.
And it looks so rudimentary. It's just like a just a clamp.
It almost looked like those things that women used to like make their
eyelashes curl.
Yeah, an eyelash curler, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what it's called either.
Yeah.
That's probably the scene in my head where I go, what do I take away? If I had to take away one shot, like, and go, that's the shot that's gonna make me remember that movie. It's that.
Yeah, it's funny because like I don't think that they advertise it as much. Like when.
No, I think it's more shocking when you don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think if they had gone in, they were like, oh, we're going to do this weird MK Ultra mind control thing on these people. When you see them, like he's asking questions and they're like, yeah, you're going to make me watch videos, and he's like, yeah, something like that. And then then you find out what they're doing. You're like, oh fuck. And he's like, yeah, it took me a while. I love movies like this. It took me a while to realize I'm not feeling so great.
And the Ludovico technique, that's an actual thing, right?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't think it is. I feel like that's totally made up. I'll make a note on the screen if it is.
I want to say that it's been used, not of course for humans, but it's been used in like animals and stuff. Like I think we even do that with like
conditioning.
Yeah. But I want to say that the Ludovico technique is a legitimate.
You might be right.
But I don't think it's exactly like Clockwork Orange, how it's done that way.
Yeah, that would definitely be illegal.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, there was something, I don't know, I'm not even going to like begin to start talking about it because I don't know enough, but there was like CIA undercover, MK Ultra is what it was called. And it was like running weird experiments like that to see if they could, you know, make it like they'd say a word and it would like trigger them to like do something. Like different weird things like that. It was like weird mind control stuff.
Was it targeted to fix crime or was it just?
I don't know. They're always going to say it was for some good reason, but they would, you know, they're always running some crazy shit, man. They would put acid in people's like in the drinking water at like a university and see what would happen, shit like that. I'm not making that up. They maybe not that exact way, but it would be like weird things. They would drug people and not tell them just to see what the fuck would happen. They did that in Tuskegee. You know about that? Mm-mm. Yeah, there was and it was like it's horrible because it was like happening to like black neighborhoods, but they were studying syphilis, and what they would do is it would gather all the guys that they knew had it, and it was in this community, and they would give them shots, but the shots wouldn't be anything. It was just like a saline or whatever.
Right.
And, but they would tell them like, oh, we're testing new medicines on you to see if we can cure syphilis. And so but what they would do is every couple of months or once a month or whatever, they'd see them again and just track what was going on with their bodies and not actually trying to cure them at all. Just to see what progresses and like, so they could have better data on how it progresses.
Jeez. Wow.
And do you think those motherfuckers would have been okay with that if they knew they weren't like trying to solve the problem?
Right.
So these guys were going home and like giving syphilis to their wives and shit. Like, yeah, dude.
And they're all the while thinking like, oh yeah, I'm getting treatment.
Oh, they're trying to fix it or whatever.
Right. Jeez.
That happened. That's not made up. And then they're finding out over and over and over as things get declassified over time.
Gosh, man.
Like weird shit that they did.
Dude, data, as silly as it sounds, can be scary.
Yeah.
The fact that was wanted, the fact that we needed that data for whatever reason, mm-hmm. and the fact that agencies were willing to do whatever it takes to get the data just data, that's just insane to me.
Yeah, well, and then you do, I don't know, it raises a lot of questions too, right? Like, so, God, this is getting rough. Like, so during the
it all relates though.
During the Holocaust, when they were running experiments, let's say they learned some valuable stuff on, what kind of medications will work and like what happens to the body when it's goes through this thing or whatever it is, and they find some actual useful data that can help other people. Do you throw the data away because it was gotten in like an evil way, or do we keep it to go, well, they suffered for nothing then?
Yeah, see, that's the conundrum. It's like, it's hard. I don't even want to answer, but
because
if you say yes, you're like a dick because all these people suffered for it. If you say no, then there's current people that are going to be suffering for it as well.
That could be benefiting from it. Yeah,
it's like, fuck it. I think yes. I think we need to keep that data.
Yeah, and everybody will fall on one side of the fence, or they'll just walk the line and go, well, I don't fucking know.
I mean, like with this whole Kubrick and his adaptation of all this, it's real life. It's not that far fetched.
No, of course, this is very like
it's real life.
He's
stuff.
using like this weird dystopian future to like say like this is some shit that can happen.
Yeah, like everything about this story is pretty real. The only thing that's like whimsical or supernatural would be the serum. That's it.
Yeah, and even that they could probably make.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy. They could probably make it. Yeah. And I've said it before, like whatever we accidentally find out about, like somebody like some whistleblower comes out with, there's shit that we're never gonna hear about and you'd be like, what the fuck, they did that? So like, I don't know, and that's why this story is really good, and that's why it's kind of a bummer that the movie isn't like higher up.
Yeah, I really want to like it.
There's a lot of stuff that's like, oh my god, this is a crazy story.
Oh man, it could, and not to say that Kubrick did a terrible job, but kind of.
Some of it just misses, man.
Yeah.
Some of it just misses. It's really just the pacing. They should have just he should have just had some editor like push him a little harder to like cut stuff or like change things to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it could have told that same story with a lot less like fuckery.
Yeah,
there was too much fuckery in here,
and you could have still had all the great visuals too.
Of course.
There's no, all the great visuals that we talked about were not really a point where we thought it could have shaved off. Like it was still.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff from the beginning where you're sort of learning how awful Alex is, like all that stuff is great. I wouldn't trim any of that off. Like,
oh yeah,
the attack of the bum and hanging out at the bar, driving around, running people off the road. Because he is kind of introducing himself, or the gang fight they have in the plaza, or they have the theater, or whatever that thing is.
Like all that's kind of quick.
Yeah, and you're just like, whoa.
It starts getting slower when, I guess, really the prison. Well,
prison is like really when it does, because they go. No, there's definitely a little bit scenes that feel like they drag a little bit before that.
Yeah.
Like picking up the girls. They should have. Okay, here's what I would have done for that. Instead of making it goofy, the two girls he picks up.
Okay.
They could have made it start off being funny, like, oh, he's hanging out with these girls or whatever. But then they should have had the shot where he's like letting them leave his apartment. Like it goes to black or whatever, and then the next shot is him opening the door, letting them leave, and they like have bruises on him and shit. Or they don't have to show violence.
Yeah, it's just implied.
But they can suggest, oh, they weren't having a good time, and that would have been kind of like, maybe that's how I would have like shown that, because what is that scene for? Aside to just be like, oh, that's kind of funny how they edited it.
Yeah,
you don't need it to show what a piece of shit. What's that? He picks up girls at an album shop. Who cares?
Yeah, it definitely needed to have that ultraviolence aspect.
Yeah, it definitely needed a punch to be like, oh, this guy like beats girls too.
Yeah, because I mean, you still get that. You still get that he's a horrible person. But I think you're right. I did like that that scene where they're like
it is
all
funny.
spread.
It's
kinda
it's
cool.
interesting looking
Yeah.
for sure.
There was other things I really didn't like the whole with that what is his name, Deidre or
Deltoid.
Whenever he like drinks the water from the dentures.
Yeah, that
Like,
was like silly for no reason.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. The way that Alex is like eating the food, he's kind of being silly with it. Like it's just like whatever. Like
Oh yeah, the conversation they have when he like drugs him with the wine. More wine. And he like slaps the wine on the table. Yeah, some of that stuff is a lot. It's way too much.
And what was up with the big strong dude? I guess he was like the tenant. Or
you know who that is?
No.
So okay, like in the story, it's like because he can't walk, so he just needs a helper.
Right.
So he probably just like rents the room out. He's like, oh, you can just fucking hang out here, work out. But that guy is Darth Vader.
Oh, get out of here!
That's the actor who, because you know James Earl Jones does the voice.
Right.
This guy is the body.
Oh,
that's
wow.
fucking kind of cool, honestly.
That is kind of cool.
However much like people fucking love and hate Star Wars, whatever, but like that's kind of cool that that's that guy, the big bodybuilder dude that carries the writer around.
Yeah,
is
funny.
Yeah.
I just thought it was random.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it almost felt like they were
lovers.
They were kind of lovers too.
You feel that way because of how he's dressed.
Yeah, I think
because you see him and he's like in these skimpy short. I think that was just like how people did stuff back then.
So you don't think that was intentional then?
It could be. I mean, if that's how you perceive it, because he was married to that lady and she was kind of a babe.
Yeah, definitely.
So like I think that he like just has like a live-in nurse and it just happens to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, take it if you felt like I know what you're saying, and it's just because they made him look fruity.
Yeah, I don't think that they probably intended that.
Yeah.
I wonder if like bodybuilders in that time were all
they wore little shirts.
Yeah.
They wore the shirts that were like cut off right here.
Right.
So like I'm thinking like that was it was to look tough and strong.
Right.
To show off the leg muscles.
But nowadays
and stuff.
it's
but
like
for our modern eyes, you're like
what?
Why are you dressed like that? But that's why, right? Because he doesn't act like he's interested in him. There's no
not at all.
Like
and
Deltoid comes off like even without the crotch grab.
Yeah, you do get that vibe.
Yeah.
And even then, like, there's a scene where he's like wearing a full-fledged suit too. I think when they're like blasting the music and he's like torturing himself, like, so he's taking a full-fledged. So I think they probably didn't mean for that to be a thing.
I understand. I mean, I immediately knew what you meant. So
yeah,
I obviously felt that was. There's some questions there, sure, but like, there's nothing other than just that he looks weird that would make you feel that. I don't think. You know, I think he just has like a live-in nurse.
Right. And they probably chose him to be big and bulky because they wanted to enforce
to show Alex being weak.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's not the big dog. It's not a vulnerable woman anymore.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of like one of those things. It's weird again how like with Shawshank where I was like I don't really like that they go to the same place. This does have that feel a little bit. You know, where I was saying that Red goes and does the same things that Books does.
Yes.
So he happens to run into Dim. He happens to run into the old guy.
I knew you were going to say some shit like that.
I had to, because I was like, that's a little bit, I mean, they could have had like, that stuff all could have been different. You know what the cop should have been, and I think they do it in the book, the cop should have been one of the gang members from, that he, not in his gang.
Right.
A gang member, another gang member. Billy Boy, yeah. Because then you go, okay, then it's a reflection of him again. It's like, oh, they're just hiring thugs to be cops. Mm-hmm. You can get, because that's what the concept is, but it's like, oh, it's Dim? That's dumb. Oh, let me ask you this, and you guys out there that saw the movie, I do this every time. Every time I see a movie where the character gets dunked in water, do you try to hold your breath as long as they're underwater?
No, not in this movie, but other movies I do, but not this one, dude. He's fucking in there for a minute.
Dude, he's in there for so long. Dude. They beat the crap out of him and they put him in this like horse feeding trough for water, and it's cold. You can see their breath.
Yeah.
So you know that water's cold. And they dunk him and I'd have to look up how long he's in there, but he's in there for a long time. And you're like, they obviously practiced. He like made him. Sure. He learned how to like do it. I'm sure there was a signal to be like, let me out if he was starting to get freaked out or whatever. But it's impressive.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie. That also, I'm like, dude, just get it. Like, we don't have to see it. Like it's like there's the hitting, the sound. And,
yeah. It's not not necessary, but like I'm just
but
more
it
just
is
saying.
Impressive.
But I'm saying like, damn, like having him hold his breath that long is kind of wild. And then you think, okay, at some point they're just gonna pull him out, but no, there's lines. There's not. They don't just like wait for him to feed. You know, he doesn't give a signal like they wait, and then finally he says, "Oh, you think we should have had enough?" You know, so then he can't hear it.
So there definitely was like a, how long can you do this?
Yeah, we got to do it for 90 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know how long it is, but it's an impressive amount. Because I remember sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just hold my breath. And I rewound and I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna try it. And I was like, God damn, he's in there for so fucking long.
You tried it?
I tried it.
Did you
No, fuck no. Try it. It's a long time, dude.
I'm sure that's like a challenge somewhere. You know?
the Clockwork Orange air hold challenge.
We should do
breath
hold.
We
should do like a Chorizo Bro episode where it's just us with all
dunking
these movies.
Dunking our water or heads in the water.
No, we'll just do like a little clip of the movie, and we'll be trying to hold our breath as long as that.
Oh,
so it'll be like a bunch of different movies that do that or whatever. So
there's a really good one. I just saw this movie recently. Count of Monte Cristo. It was on streaming. I fucking love that movie. But there's a part where they throw him and he's like in a sack, and he's got to like unlace the sack, and then he has to fucking unlock his legs, and it's obviously shot at different times, so it's not like one go. Mm-hmm. But I always try to hold my breath on it if it's a long time.
Jeez, damn, bro.
Yeah,
that's funny. You do that every single time.
Every single time.
Every movie doesn't matter.
Every single time.
As soon as you see it, like you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, maybe not. Let me rephrase that. Not in new movies because I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But like, if I know like that movie, like I was, oh, they're gonna dunk him. I'm like, okay.
I do the thing where it's like, let's say there's a bomb that's gonna go off and it's like set for like 30 seconds. I like will count. So as soon as I see that timer,
because you want it to
30,
be
you
want the continuity to be 30 seconds.
Exactly, and it
never is.
Is never.
You know what the worst one is? Is fucking Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones will have like. It'll look like something's gonna like cut them up, and they're on the thing, and it's getting closer and closer, and it looks like it's gonna do it on the next one, but then they're like back here again, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, Indiana Jones does that a lot.
Fucking hell, man.
Do you have any more points you want to make about this? Because I think we're good, hit on some stuff. It might be not that long an episode.
Everybody. This movie's not for everybody.
I want to say
because you mentioned that it is, but I actually don't think it is.
I'm saying that because if you're gonna do like, I think there's certain movies that like there's lines or there's scenes or there's stuff that gets referenced that like part of our popular culture is like you have to know where like the Goodfellas. You think I'm funny? You know that the Godfather. You know whatever scene from there. I think this is one of those movies that has that.
Yes,
where you won't get the reference if you don't know it, and like that, even just that is important.
I mean, it's just a movie.
Well, you're right. And a book.
Yeah.
But man, how many references do you miss? How many times are people talking about something that like, where you go, oh man, that, and you go, that's what that meant, you know, and I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
I want to be in the know.
Yeah. When it comes to like pop culture and like movie history and you're into that, definitely watch this. But if you're like you get queasy and because I know people in my life that do not like this movie because of the severe violence in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely see people not liking this movie because of it, but you can still think something's important to watch and not like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like somebody going like, "Oh, I didn't really like The Godfather," but at least they watched it.
Yeah, because I mean that also has some pretty adult, serious.
Yeah,
themes,
I mean there's a lot of violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is. Yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's a movie I really liked.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Now that I'm like thinking, I'm like, who would I tell to watch this? Like, we have Chris watch movies sometimes, right? I can't imagine him sitting through this. I think he would find it really boring.
Well, let's find out, Chris. Let's watch this.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, he won't.
Watch, we're just gonna hear him using the language.
What's up, my little droogies?
Yeah.
Oh, my brothers.
Oh my brothers. Oh, you know what my favorite like juxtaposition of like the majestical like Beethoven was right when he starts talking about being in prison, and it's like weepy, like violin music. Yeah, I'll have to show you to see like what it looks like, and he's like, "Oh, and then I was off to the prison and whatever," and it's like this really sad, like melancholy violin music, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch," because he's manipulating us also as the viewers.
And classical
music,
he's
a piece of shit. He's an like,
oh yeah.
You want everything bad to happen to him, but you do start to root for him a little bit.
A little, yeah. Especially with the whole Ludovico treatment, like that's the main thing. So yeah.
Now I think that's it. Unless you got another point.
I think it was good, man. It was a great episode.
Yeah. Had some tea, had some whiskey. You scared the crap out of me, so I had to get some whiskey. I was like, oh man,
it got too real, bro.
God, man, free will and shit. Hey guys, leave us some comments. Tell us what you thought. I think we're gonna get out of here. We got some more fun stuff to bring you when Art comes back. I think we're doing just a book, and we'll bring that for you. We're all gonna do the same book, and that should be Art's return when he starts back on this. So it's gonna be fun.
We miss you, buddy.
We miss you very much. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Comment, like, tell us what we should do next. Joseph.